Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in. Check out your boy, P Funk. Thinking right out here in the lab with my teacher's hat on because I'm in the book. I got a nice little lesson for you. Okay, so right thinkers, let's rock. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in my stories for life. I give you life lessons. You tune in and receiving them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinkers way of life through mental and spiritual discipline. Practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to, yep, know thyself. So you see where we're going with this? Let's get there together. And I ask you the question: do you know you? You will when I get through. Mhm. That's what I do. It's rhetorical. But if you don't have the answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm your spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself and two, my be true. I'm cooking with this parables thing. We're going to phase two. Let's talk about IRE, aka y'all know it as karma. That's God's law. What I mean by God's law is it is what it is. What you think and feel about it, don't change what it is. Let's talk about it. And you are in control of what we know to be your destiny. Karma is your action. Let's talk about it. So IRE means action, something being done. It's not destiny, but it's the accumulated unconscious impressions from desires, your thoughts, and your feelings of what your past, the present and previous lives. What you mean? If the spirit is here, it's because it didn't get enlightened in the previous owner of it. So it's here. You the owner of it now. Your job is to enlighten it so it can go home. If not, it's gonna come back again. You will die. Moving on. That's the concept. So when you hear me say spirit, that's the concept. From your desires and not your destiny. Why? Everything you do counts up at the judgment day. We're gonna see how you live. That's the whole purpose. A person can change their IRE action, their goals, their motivation, MO, motive for operations, how what they do by their what? Present actions. You, the individual, you're always responsible for the present by what? The actions that you performed what previously, which led them or you to this place today, etc. Either by external factors, and that can affect one's life, but one is still in control ultimately of what? Of the response of those extremities of life. And again, you don't control the situation, you control yourself in the situation, aka chaos. Find the quiet in the storm, in the chaos. Amongst chaos, find peace and harmony. Okay, that's part of life, the concept. But other people, watch this. You have other people, circumstances, etc. However, the present is not set. Your destiny ain't foretold. I hate when no, no. You got total control over that. So that philosophy, that theory don't work for me. Why? Because we say to the contrary, you control your destiny. Your fate is in your hands, so to speak. And this is telling you how. Watch this. Otherwise, people could not change and they would not be destined to suffer or be happy based on what? Some perverse cosmic joke, and their destiny has already been laid out for them, would be out of their control. If the road had been made for you, why live? What just waste of time? Again, life is an adventure that has to be what? Lived. A mystery that has to be lived. whatever you call it, it had to be lived. The spirit needs the physical body to have the human experience. Without it, it's just either gonna go back where it come from or it needs another body. Moving on. And if it is, excuse me, it is not like that. Why? God has provided for man what? Free will, consciousness. That's free will. Okay, spirit is the gift. What you do with it is free will. No matter how you break it down, I can simplify it if you want more, but that's common. What's this? And it provides you with free will, and with it, every person can either have a glorious life full of wisdom, prosperity, or a life of what? Strife, suffering, and frustration. And it's all based on, you ready for this? Egoism and your egoistic desires and those actions that you choose. Again, he got what he wanted. He got what he wanted. Neither one of them was good. Because of what? The ego ignorance and self-gratification. Just being satisfied. Me, I. That gets you nothing. Moving on. That's the concept. That's the philosophy that I practice now. I can relate. Why? I practiced something else before and it didn't work. That's why. And so what I'm saying is every person's actions, aka karmic, that will is their what? Unconscious resolve and is based solely on every individual's accumulated desires, beliefs, and feelings by which every person has lived. Your individual life means something to only you. I don't give a damn about nothing you think, feel, or did. Why? It don't do me no good. Not a bit. I can listen and emphasize, but it don't do nothing for me. Stop thinking people give a damn about you or what you think. Not a bit. If you think so, that's not smart. Understand? People don't care. Not, but they don't care. Bottom line. Okay, get over it. But the karmic basis, your IRE, is all based on you, the individual. I chose to do wrong. Now I'm choosing to do right. The benefits of like night and day. Simple as that. I can tell you that. Moving on. So if a person's, what's this, desires wealth and carries out various actions in an attempt to gain that wealth, and this is the kind of society we live in. Everybody wants wealth. Everybody wants money. But what do they do for the money? That's where the evil died. That's where the intent lies. That's where all the problems start right there. It's not the money, it's what they do for. And when wealthy people got everything, everybody want to be like them. Okay? So it's based on what you attempt to gain wealth and what they do. They set up a basis for seeking that wealth. Scooby Doo, roll. And some people would obtain it, try to get it by what? Any means necessary. Okay? So these actions become what? Stored up in every individual's unconscious mind as what? Impressions. And at the time of death, right there, you can do what you want. At judgment day, that means everything you did will be brought to light right there. That's what karma does. She reminds you of everything that you got and give you just what you deserve. At judgment day, you'll be responsible for said actions. That's the concept of philosophy. We ain't got to say, oh, I live right there. You can, whatever gets you to do that, knock stuff out. I ain't got a problem with that. I chose right thinking. So whatever gets you to be a better you, I'm with you 100%. Okay. So when death comes, what's this? Now they impel you, that person, to what? Continue searching for what? Wealth. Even in death, you're unconscious because you want wealth. I want to be Elmer J. Fly. I want to match it in the yacht. So we program to want that, and we don't get it. We're going to come back and try it again. That's reincarnation. Again, because you didn't what? Become conscious of yourself. You chasing a dream that you feel like a failure. And in life, if you do that, you are. Simple as that. So understand that. But in your unconscious way, you search in fact and never find it. But if a person was evil, watch this, in life, their own karmic base will what? Will send them to what? A plane of continuous what's consciousness where what? Where now they will suffer evil experiences. Okay? Y'all call it hell. And this is no Hello. As hell. Again, it's all mental and you dictate that. By the same token, we hear how you go to hell, okay? But if a person was to form right thinking philosophy and live like that and perform good deeds in their life, and what happened? Their karmic basis, we call blessings, right? This will send them to the plane of consciousness where what? Where they will experience heavenly conditions. We call it bliss, okay? Hotep, supreme peace. And this is known as heaven. See, philosophically, I can break it down for you, but all you got to do is practice it. I do. I don't just talk it, teach it. I practice it. Difference. Again, if your pastor that's teaching you weekly, if he lapped down and dapped out, and y'all struggling, you should find another church. Why? Because you should prosper. My pastor educates me. My pastor enlightens me biblically. I go there for that. Understand that's why I have respect for religion and those who practice it in the right way and those who live it in the way it's intended. I got no problem with y'all at all. But again, it comes down to what? If a person could not attain, again, in life, we got our own personal goals. Every individual that's in your mind, again, it's all mental. Understand that if you didn't attain some desires in your present lifetime, I didn't get my Rolls Royce. I didn't get a whole bunch of stuff. What the hell that got to do with the price of tea in China? Again, nobody gives a crap outside of me. Why? That's the only place it matters. So if you're thinking people really care about, yo, I just get less about personal goals and achievement. I did some things that I'm proud and happy about. Nobody gives a shit. They piss on your parade. So don't expect other people to join in what your disappointments and your achievements. That's all. But this little girl called Misconnect. She's what causes you, the person, to what? To be reborn in a better situation with family and circumstances. This is what I tend to, I call this the fluff. I try to get past that, but I meant to do just that. But I got to give it to you now that we're here. They had a concept of misconnect, which is karma. She will help you out in the next lifetime because if you messed up here, it's her job to scold, no, just to help you out, put in a better situation, hope you figure it out. Okay, that's the concept. Let me read this to you right quick. And what happened? You're reborn into a country or family and circumstances where now you will be able to hopefully continue pursuing your personal desires, and your karmic will is what's going to drive you, no motivation. But this form of desiring things which are ultimately perishable, right there. If you want anything in this world, why? Right here is perishable. Why? Becomes the basis of what? Reincarnation. If you want this the physical world, you're gonna come back over and over. And until you are had your fill to decide, okay, I want something better. Hello. Now you come see me. Okay. My job is to get you out of that mode. Why? Because if you like that, I can't help you. Moving on. Heaven. What's this? So again, where we at? Common. So this form of desires, things that ultimately become the base of make. Okay, when you love earthly things like physical self, you destined to reincarnate. I keep telling you. But heaven and hell, again, we tell you, are not permanent states of being for your soul. What you mean? Like the physical world and your human experience in life, heaven and hell are relative states of consciousness, or free your mind, your ass to follow. Joyce say, depending on your state of mind, depending on how much you're gonna suffer and where you are. But it's all relative states of what? Your own experience. Right there. Right there. And that's transitory. Why? Because you can change it. You can be good or it can be bad based on your actions. Back to Irie. Who's on first? Irie, karma. And they will all come to what? An end. Anything that's born will die. Anything material won't last. Spirit and consciousness is what God is. That's what you need to know thyself. Heart, mind, coherence. That's my thing. Get used to it, right? Because what you mean? Your spirit and your mind becomes one. That's you knowing God for yourself. Simple. I can break it down. Real easy. Moving on. It's called heart, mind, coherence. Think about it. Try to conceptualize it and use it. Why? That's the way you get to God. If you ain't meditating, start. The only state of being, again, mental, is that it's permanent and imperishable is what? is when your mind is enlightened and connecting with your heart. And that's the eternal divine self. And that's called discovery. We call it nihas. Y'all call it spiritual enlightenment. All what you call it means nothing. But when you experience, you can call it whatever you want. I'll call it right thinking. Get it? So this is because what? All your earthly and egoistic desires and your entire karmic basis will what? Dissolve. The ego gives in. The ego acquiesces. The ego gives up the reign to Haru. Okay. Like, yeah. Yes. That's conquering what? The ego. That's becoming anointed with God now. That's Haru taking control over you. Hello. I'm trying to make it simple as I could for you. I got a few more minutes. Let me take it in. Enlightenment means to know something that you didn't previously know. How about that? And that's what enlightenment means. I'm enlightening you when I give you the message. I'm giving you the information. I'm giving you. You didn't previously know this. I know that. So that's what teaching is, to give you just that. You can work with it from there. And enlightenment means what? It dissolves your karmic basis. Why? Because it is made up of an illusions and your desires and your passions and ignorance. But since spiritual, there you go, practice, aka Maya, and enlightenment, what does? It eradicates your ignorance of the illusion and the delusional factors that your ego wants you to believe in. It dissolves, and there now is no earthly pleasures of the flesh, no worldly desires of accumulating stuff. Well, but again, that's the issue. When you can get past those things, and they no desires are left for that which is what? Negative. All good. That's called divine. That's divine living. That's doing what? The right thing. Y'all call it being righteous, holy, whatever you want to call it. But when you're doing it, it don't make a difference. Why? Because he's the one that recognizes it. And when you're being blessed for living right, won't you continue to live right? If you being beat up for living wrong, you're going to continue to live wrong. I've been to prison. I pay my punishment. Again, understanding all those things, you got to get better for yourself. And that's my job, to help you do just that. But watch this. When you are negative, or for what? The ephemeral pleasure, meaning temporary, not long term. My mother used to say, you have a temporary problem for a permanent solution. That will never work. That's like a band-aid on surgery. You're going to need more help moving on. So you go and seek higher knowledge. Somebody who can help you. What? Raise your consciousness and get you to the next level. That's what our jobs as sages and teachers are to be doing. And your attainment of what? Your mortal existence. When you realize you are human. Okay, that's, but if a person was a practitioner and followed the yogi in their life, their own purified karmic basis would change. Why? Because now that would send them to the what? Expanded consciousness, which is beyond earthly and egoistic desires, and lead them to what? Discover their divine self by living right. That's how you know. I didn't know that until I did it. When I did it, I figured out, whoa, this ain't too bad. I'm continuing to do it. I figured that wasn't good. I stopped doing it. Sorry. All right, let me wrap this up. But this is, again, these things is known as what? You ready? Spiritual enlightenment. God is spirit. Man is conscious. You have to become spiritual enlightened. Heart, mind, coherence. Again, I'm riding that horse now. Spiritual enlightenment, some people call it liberation. Some people call it eternal freedom, immortality, moksha, mukti, whatever everybody got a name for, etc. But only those attain. This attainment ends what? When you reach this level, what have you done? You ready? You have ended the cycle of birth and death, aka reincarnation is no longer on the table for you. You're going home. Bam. I want to stop right there. Well, I'm going to stop right there. But going back into what? A body in order to have another physical experience, that's your choice. They say, what? I got the choice. Bye bye. Get it all while I'm here now. Why? Because when I leave, I'm not coming back. Simple as that. I have my time, have my full. I'm good. I want to just relax and chill. Okay, with Rob. And I'd make another lesson. I'm going to start right here. No, I ain't. I'm going to keep going. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get it all in. But I got one more. So therefore, your spiritual philosophy. will direct your spiritual aspirants to what? To desire after that which is not perishable, which is spiritual, which is not fleeting, which is physical. The divine self, that's what you want to be connected with, and that's God. And the things that you do and how you live lets you know that you can entertain that on a regular basis without nobody's consent, nobody's approval, one way or another. It's personal. He's universal, but he's also personal. So it is so important to understand, right thinkers, what? That you, the person, control your own fate. How? By controlling your desires, your thoughts, and your feelings. Daily practice of righteous living. It's real simple. I ain't saying go and join a cult or nothing. No, just put yourself in a position to do the right thing. He's paying attention. He don't give a damn what you call yourself. Okay? But these people, and you put these things together and you they put together, comprise what is now referred to what? As mind and mystical philosophy. I still say heart, mind, coherence. We call it right thinking philosophy because it is a mystical philosophy, but the experience for every individual is going to be different. That's the beauty part of it. Okay, so therefore, control over one's mind, and that's the whole key. If you ain't got control of this, the rest is taboo anyway. All right, so understand this. It's an important aspect of what? Daily spiritual practice. Why? Because the mind is what determines everything that happens in your life, whether it be positive or negative. It don't care. Mind is the cause of your experiences here of hell or heaven. Your decision. Again, hell, heaven. You make it. Why? But the decision is your IRE. That's what decides right there. Start out that way. It ain't changed. And again, hell and heaven, happiness or sorrow, enlightenment or what? Degradation, ignorance. That's all the game that you play if you what? Don't know thyself. You don't understand how karma works. Okay? You keep wondering why you get the same result. Yeah, that's karma. If you're doing wrong, the result gonna be wrong. But in the same token, when you do right and the results are right, wouldn't you lean more to that? Makes more sense. That's the lesson. I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna stop. I keep looking down. I got a little more. I got a little more. Hold on. Even the most in God's law don't exterminate, don't discriminate. Why? Even the most infinitesimal form of life in the universe cannot escape this karmic law. Nobody's exempt. Beautiful law. That's God's way. No. It ain't privilege. It ain't black, white. No, it ain't none of that. Male, no. It's across the board. Therefore, a spiritual aspirant, right thinker, you must learn to what? To desire what is true and then act on it accordingly to what is good and righteous. Why? There are benefits that come with that. That's right living. Simple as that. That's why I can get this in. Why? This is the best part. The karmic law is an example of what? The power of God, the glory, divine self, Ra. Even more wonderful, watch this example of the power of the glory of divine right is even more wonderful is when what? The realization that every living being is part of this intricate fabric of what we call life, and that all are looking after by what? The one supreme being. Again, no matter how insignificant you may seem to be, don't make a difference. Another important teaching that we get here is to what? That no one can do unrighteous and act and get away with it. So when somebody mistreats you, and that's going to happen, they're responsible for that action. Don't you think you're going to take karma in your own hands? I used to tell people I'm going to help karma out. But no, I had to realize, let it be. If you're a true believer, some things you got to let, what did you say? If that's what you believe, let it be. That's a bit of pill to swallow, but I'm learning and I'm getting better at just that. I'm learning that aspect from my pastor, and he's a Christian. Good. Okay, so his practice is he preaches, he practices it. I ain't got a problem with that. Oh, yeah, I booked a lot of good stuff in it, but moving on. But my thing, philosophy is something you can practice. You ain't got to act all holy and down. No, just practice it. Just practice. I don't care what you do. Don't care what none of that. Just practice it for yourself. It got nothing to do with me. What your sex is, what your, ain't got none of that matters to me. Okay, so let me wrap this up again. Now, what happens? Another important teaching here is that no one who thinks they can get away with it, that's karma. That's God's hitman. Okay, don't worry. And at some point in time, the present life or in your future life, they will what? Reap the effects of their unrighteous action. Again, you can't get away with it. All y'all pastors who think you can in the pulpit preach all that, preach that good stuff, and then live in sin and think nobody knows. Really? Moving on. TD, moving on. All right, sorry about that. That was nice. But all your unrighteous actions of the past in the form of what? They come some of this misfortune. Oh, here's a better one. Adversity. Oh, this is probably karma. I used to look back and say, man, yeah, it still come back and bite me. It took us every now and then. You got to take it with a grain of salt and move on. And mostly disappointment and frustration. You wonder where they come from. This is the common result from you did it right. That explains it right there. All right, wrapped it up. Spiritual punishment is melded for what? All those who transgress against the universal laws of life, which include compassion, honesty, justice, righteousness, peace, and universal love. You're rewarded for those qualities. You're rewarded for those things, and you will pay and will be punished. That's telling you, you will pay for your unrighteous deeds. So I'm not here to, well, I'm a victim of it too. Well, I'm still getting mine. I did a whole bunch of stuff. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, okay, but that's the name of the game. That's the way it goes. I'm gonna stop with that. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna for real this time. I'm gonna stop. I got more, but I'll be back to the lesson. Right there in closing. You know I like doing this. I'm having too much fun, but I gotta go. So in closing for this lesson, may you all live to be 100, me 100 minus a day. So I never know that my right thinkers who understand the God's law of karma have passed away. Live right, and you won't.